Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Crystal Holloman, a digital reporter here at News 10. I'm going to take you to Nevada, where police have confirmed there is an active shooter at the University of Las Vegas campus. We have reporters there from our sister station speaking to some students right now, so we're going to listen in and see what they have to say.
I think we heard that he's detained, happy that he's detained. Not sure if is a second shooter or not. Hopefully that one's detained as well. We're just glad to be out of it, glad to be on our way home.
Seeing the cops go the other direction makes it feel a little better that they're not here anymore.
Thank you, ladies, so much. We're glad that you're safe. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Latoya, as you just heard, these ladies, these students were just in class doing a presentation, and all of a sudden they just had a shelter in place. A lot of activity going on right here on Rochelle and Maryland Parkway. When we last saw you at the top of the noon,
and now heads up.
I saw
It's winter,
non-stop
takes all.
police
I'm all in.
vehicles zoom down Maryland Parkway there at sunrise, and as you can see right now, of the noon, the road here on Maryland Parkway is closed down. Zoom down Maryland police with heavy artillery coming out of the woodwork.
When
As you
you're
can
in the
see, this
largest
brother right
personal
here
injury
on
law
our
firm
right
in
is
Nevada,
coming
you
as
get
well.
to know
We've
a lot of
seen,
interesting
tankers and
characters.
other
First lawyer
police mobile command units come down and
disappeared
zoom
on me.
down here on Maryland Parkway. They have shut
Yeah,
off
I've seen
Maryland
that trick
Parkway
before.
right here at Rochelle and Maryland, not letting anyone through. So this is the very latest, and as you can hear, those students, they're extremely scared, but thankfully they are okay.
Slip and fall.
That is the very latest here at Maryland and Rochelle. We'll send
For
it
my
back to you in the
case,
studio.
I got a million of them.
They have that
Saw
heavy
you
police
at the
presence
top
for
of
good reason
the
because we had
noon.
an active shooter
I
report
saw
on the case. We just got
non-stop
in
police
word from Metro
vehicles
that one suspect
zoom
has
down
in fact been
Maryland
located
Parkway
and
there at
is
sunrise,
deceased at
and
this
as you
hour.
can
So
see,
it looks like the
saw
threat
you
is
at the
gone police
top
now.
of
We
the
don't know if they're
noon.
looking for any
I saw
other person that could
non-stop
possibly be
police
involved in
vehicles
this, but what we're
zoom
learning
down
for now
Maryland
is at
Parkway
least one
there at
suspect
sunrise,
located
and as
and
you can
deceased at
see,
this hour. But
saw
again,
you at the
when you hear
top
from
of
those
the
students, I
noon.
mean, people just
I
going
saw
about their
non-stop
daily
police
routines,
vehicles
going to class.
zoom down
Brett
Maryland
Forrest just
Parkway
going to
there
work,
at
doing an
sunrise,
assignment.
and as you
And
can
then
see,
all too often we've heard
saw
of
you at
how
the top
the
of the
normal
noon.
security that you feel
I
in
saw
life is just shattered
non-stop
within a moment.
police
And we still have a
vehicles
lot of questions about this
zoom down
case.
Maryland
So we know that
Parkway
one shooter
there
is
at
down,
sunrise, and as
deceased.
you
Is
can
there
see,
another one that they're
saw
looking
you at the
for? We
top
don't have
of
any
the
information
noon.
that they are.
I saw
We've heard that there are
non-stop
injuries
police
associated with
vehicles
this. How many people were hit by gunfire? And how serious are the injuries? We don't know. And motive. Obviously, this is a breaking story. It just happened. And this is some of the video that was posted to social media just a short time ago showing the police presence on campus. It's a short clip. But this is what they posted not long ago. And they're not answering many of the questions for us right now. But this is Brett Forrest, and we know that he was inside one of the buildings there at UNLV when they locked it down. We do know that there are multiple people who are injured here, and there's a heavy police presence on campus. But you also this is what they posted not long ago, kind of sauntering and around. they're not So answering many of the questions for like there us was an right imminent now. threat But at this the is time, Brett but Forrest, and we know don't that he have was inside one of the buildings there at UNLV when they locked it down. We do know that there are multiple people who are injured here, and there's a heavy police presence on campus. But you also saw some of the police officers kind of sauntering around. So it didn't look like there was an imminent threat at the time, but we still don't have answers to many of these questions right now.
Right, and we just talked to Brett Forrest hours ago, who also there's no way of knowing answers. So how long it's very possible that, but again, we're still trying to find out if there were any more suspects. We do know that one of them was located. May not know at least one person if they're still in danger or not. Of course, we also had another staff member here at News 3 who was also a UNLV student, minutes become trapped in one of the buildings. There's no way of knowing us that he is safe, how long he was able to get away. But again, we're still trying to find out for all the people who were suspects. We know that one of them right now, like the students we just heard from, lots of size of relief. We also had another staff member here at News 3 possible reports of multiple injuries involved, and so certainly a lot of people's nightmare is not over as they try to figure out if their loved one could be undoubtedly for all the people who were able to escape.
So Kristen Drummer, one of our great reporters here at News 3, is also sending this to the newsroom as well, saying that Metro Police are at Sunrise Hospital. We're getting cell phone video from there. The emergency room is in the back facing away from the street. So they said that they drove in to get some video and try to see the scene there. But Sunrise Hospital would be the closest hospital to the UNLV is also sending this to the newsroom as well, saying that Metro Police to Maryland Parkway Desert Inn. We're getting cell phone video from there. The emergency room is in the back facing away from the street. So they said that they drove in to get some video. How many ever there are? The scene there, but Sunrise Hospital would be the closest hospital Hospital. We do have Kristen Drummond, who's on scene trying to gather information very close to Maryland Parkway and Desert Inn.
All hands on
so it's
deck
probably
on this
about
one.
a 2-mile
UNLV,
drive
course,
away from campus. So
campus,
you would
more
think
than
that the
300,
injured,
acres there,
how many ever there are,
campus,
would be sent to the closest hospital, and that's probably Sunrise Hospital. We do have Kristen Drummond, who's on scene trying to gather information for us right now.
Right, again, all hands on deck on the campus right now. UNLV, doing everything we can to try to find out the information that we know you so desperately need right now, acres there, including the campus, what is happening, the very latest on this investigation. And so many of us have a connection to this campus. One suspect is been there. We don't know if this person there. You have a friend that works there or a student that is there help on the campus right now. So we're doing around the clock right now. All hands on deck to try to know the answers that you need right now. But certainly, including what is happening, the disturbing day right here in Las Vegas. All we know right now is that at least all of our eyes is deceased. We don't know if this person presence on the campus that is so beloved in this community. But of course, UNLV around the clock right now. All hands on deck. Every time this happens, and unfortunately it happens a lot. But certainly a troubling, disturbing day right here in Las Vegas.
And now it's hit our community.
Before all of our eyes, as we see
once again, we had one October, and now we're seeing this on college campuses nationwide, including in Las Vegas. So initially, reports from Beam Hall, which is pretty close to the student union, and then we heard after that Metro Police and others sending out that there were shots fired also and now it's at our student union, right? So again, we don't know how many were injured. We just know that some on college campuses nationwide, including in Las Vegas. The extent of their injuries as well with these students, with these faculty, which is pretty close to the student union. And then we heard after that Metro Police and others sending out that there were shots fired also inside the student union. So again, we don't know how many were injured. We just know that some were hit by gunfire. And we're trying to figure out, the extent of their injuries as well with these students, with these faculty. We simply do not know a lot of these answers yet.
Started shooting at a homeless encampment. 5 people were shot there. And so this is something that is unfortunately becoming a sobering reality for our community, not only here in Las Vegas, Southern Nevada, but even just recently we had a large randomly it appears when in horrible tragedies where your security is forever lost shot there. And so this is something that is unfortunately becoming a sobering reality for our community, not only
Much, man, how you doing? Are you feeling? I see that you have your shoes off. What's going on? Okay. I'm actually headed to Scotch, were you at UNLV? Dude, when everything was going down? What's the, hey, Brad? Brad!
Do you mind if I don't record?
Oh, no problem. What can you never mind. What can you tell me? What can you tell?
So I was in student union. So shooting started in the BH building, and I was in
just watching all of this play out.
So we were talking about Kristen Drummond. She joins us live now from Sunrise Hospital. And we're trying to get an idea, Kristen, if you have seen a number of emergency vehicles, how many ambulances have you seen? Do you have any idea in the number of injured being taken to Sunrise?
We don't have an idea yet of how many people who are hurt who have been brought here to Sunrise Hospital, but I can tell you there is a heavy police presence in the emergency room right here behind me. We are right here on Maryland Parkway where, as you can see, you will notice police officers are just coming down this roadway on their way to UNLV, as you can see right there behind me. We've also seen one here. They are turning into Sunrise Hospital, heading over to the emergency room. Now, as I mentioned, we do not know how many people have been brought here yet. However, we are being told that there is one person who is dead. That is likely a suspect. And I'm also told that Metro Police is looking for a possible second suspect right now. But of course, we will be outside of Sunrise Hospital monitoring the situation, and we'll continue to give you the latest updates outside of here. Reporting live outside of Sunrise, I'm Kristen Drummond, News 3.
Kristen, when you say they're looking for a possible suspect, are you saying that they believe that there is a possible suspect, or they're just doing their due diligence right now to try to rule out the possibility of a second suspect involved?
Right now, a source told me that they are looking for a possible second suspect, did not mention if that person is how they may be related to this case, or if it's just doing their due diligence at this time. But of course, I will get you the latest updates as soon as I get them in.
All right, Kristen, thank you. And we're getting this in from Las Vegas Metro Police Department. They put this on social media 6 minutes ago, and I'll read it to you exactly as they sent it. Update: the suspect has been located and is deceased. So that makes it sound like there was one suspect. We still don't have confirmation on that, and maybe out of an abundance of caution, they're going campus to campus or kind of going building to building there at UNLV, making sure there was only one active shooter and not more than one. But right now, at least according to Metro, they're saying the suspect has been located and is deceased.
Right, but still very much an active scene there. You can see the police chopper ahead as well. Let's go ahead and talk to a student who wants to remain anonymous, who's on campus right now. Go ahead and tell us where you were when all the melee broke out, and where you are right now.
Yeah, well, I was north of campus. It was a senior design competition for the College of Engineering. And basically, we were giving our presentations, and then one of the instructors in charge said there's an active shooter, and people really didn't know what to respond. They didn't know if it was like a drill. A lot of people were coming in and shelter in place, and I actually got out. I was able to run to the Cottage Grove parking lot and get off campus. There were some other people too running off campus as well. It was very scary. We didn't know where it was coming from. And there was so much police also driving to the campus when I left. It was a very scary scene. And I have a lot of friends that are still there and shelter in place, and they're very scared. And yeah, this is really bad.
Were you able to get off campus? Is that what you said? I'm sorry I didn't hear the entire thing there, but you were able to get out of harm's way there?
Yes.
What are you
I
hearing
can
from your...
definitely note that there was not an effective way to tell all the students. People did not know. There was people in the parking garage didn't know. There were just a lot of people did not know what was going on.
So you weren't notified on your phone? We've been hearing that some students were notified through text message.
Yes, we got text, but we weren't looking at the phone because of presentations, and also text and go to silent. So it was a notification, but nothing major. It was almost, people were kind of running around with their head chopped off almost. They just did not know what was going on.
Wow.
So what was going through your head at the time? Were you trying to go through ways? Initially, they say that you're supposed to run until you can't run anymore.
Oh, I'll tell you exactly. They were trying to herd us back. We were in the building. They were trying to herd people into the building. I took calculated risk. I said I'd rather just run to my car in the parking lot and go home. I did not want to stay on campus. It was just too many people, and we did not know where it was coming from. It was reported that it was a BEH eventually, but I wanted to get out of there. It was not a good. We did not want to stay.
I can certainly understand that. You also mentioned that you've been in communication with some of your friends. You say they're still sheltering in place. Do they not know that a person has been contained, or have they been told to still, in fact, stay where they are?
I think they're still in place.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to get an idea here. If you heard shots fired, if you had any indication that there was an active shooter on campus. Did you hear anything, and what did you see? Did it look like a panic situation from your fellow students out there?
Did not necessarily hear the shots fired because there's construction right near the SEB building, the new engineering building. But there was just an announcement, and then people were trying to get back into the building, and some people were leaving. So different people were doing different things.
All righty. Well, we're so glad that you were able to get to safety. Thank you so much for sharing with us what has to be a Wednesday that you will not soon forget there. But we are glad to hear that you are safe, and we hope the same for your friends.
Our Andrew Nomura is live on campus, and I think you're looking at his pictures there on the right from his cameraman that he's with. And we want to check in with Andrew right now to kind of get a sense of what's happening on campus. You were there for another story. Am I right about that, Andrew?
Well, we were near Sunrise Hospital, Dana, and we just saw while we were getting ready to go live with our other story that we just saw police vehicles whiz behind us. Right now, we are currently here at the University Church at United Methodist across the street from UNLV. As you can see, some of the students here who they say that they were in the art building when all of this happened, and they were told to shelter in place. The brother right there without socks right there. I want you to zoom in right there on Brad. This brother right here was actually on the second floor of the student union when everything was happening. People were telling him, hey, you want to stay inside, shelter in place. He was texting his family and telling his family, hey, I am okay. But he lost his shoes in the mix as he was trying to escape the student union. So that's currently what's happening on the ground. He didn't want to go on camera to talk to us, but he did mention that to me off camera. But this is currently the scene right now as people look on, as students look on at UNLV, as we can see that police presence is still incredibly huge out here right now on Maryland Parkway at University right now. But police, we've seen police go up to students, talk to them, see and get some type of understanding or a better understanding of what's happening. I know that you guys just mentioned that someone is deceased, so that is good news. But we do know that as far as the active shooter, I should say, but we do know right here as we take another picture of these students here. These folks were in the art building and they were managed to escape this active shooter situation. So we'll send it back to you.
So, Andrew, hang on one second.
There is a second shooter out there, but of course, a lot of things unconfirmed at this point. We're working with police and trying to get more information. We'll be sure to inform you when we do. Hopefully we can talk to some of these church members. Evidently they're helping some of these students here with their situation as of right now. Unconfirmed at this point. We're working with police and trying to get more information. We'll be sure to inform you when we do. Hopefully we can talk to some of these church members. Evidently they're helping some of these students here with their situation as of right now.
All right, that is Andrew Nomura for us on scene, who rushed there after his morning assignment. We appreciate you for what you're doing right now. We also have our Brett Forrest on the phone for you. Brett was there on campus for a story that was totally unrelated. Let's go ahead and talk to Brett at this hour. Brett, I know when we talked to you before, you were still pretty shaken up, which is understandable. If we can get you on the phone, Brett, if you can hear us, can you tell us the situation now?
I'm here. Hi, Latoya.
Hi. Are you still sheltered in place right now?
Time to raise those stakes.
We are. We're all kind of just awaiting updates as we can.
And now
but
heads up.
like you guys,
It's winner takes all.
UNLV
I'm all
just
in.
within the last couple of minutes that continue to shelter in place. So that is what we're going to continue doing until we hear more. As I was telling you guys before, there's probably several dozen of us here, mostly students, some staff, and faculty as well. And we're just blocking the doors, trying to stay away from the windows, and just waiting for any kind of confirmation of when we might be able to move from where we are. But we are in a building.
When you're in the largest personal injury law firm in Nevada,
interesting,
you
only
get to know
from
a
the
lot
fact
of
that we
interesting
are seeing some
characters.
social
First
media
lawyer
posts saying that there were two shooters here, one
disappeared on me.
deceased, and they're still looking for the second one. We
Yeah,
have no
I've seen
way to
that
confirm
trick
that. We're
before.
doing everything we can to try to confirm that information, but the fact that they still have you
hit by a
sheltered in
Bronco.
place
Some
either means
dummy
that there
rear-ended
is
me.
another
Us.
active shooter, or out of an abundance
Freak
of
accident.
caution, they're trying to go
Slip and
building to
fall.
building to make sure
Richard
that
Harris
there
Law Firm.
is not another
For my
active
case,
shooter on
I
case.
got a million
I know
of
you don't
them.
have a sense of that right now, but you guys are in that room, doors locked, lights off, I assume?
Lights off. Yeah, it's a weird space. I don't want to describe it too much, but yeah, one of the rooms is pretty darkened right now, and yeah, in these situations, as you just said, it's just so hard to verify what's accurate and what's not. So I do believe it is likely the abundance of caution, just making sure that there aren't multiple shooters out there to make sure that we're all safe before we make any movements from where we are.
And I'm sure, Brett, that you all are not only in the dark and making sure you're crouched down away from those windows, but probably being incredibly quiet. We can tell that you're talking to us in a more quiet tone than you normally would. Are you hearing anything that could be going on around you, possibly police maybe scurrying about trying to figure out if the building should in fact be clear? As fact, as we're talking to you right now, we're seeing from the scene there that a lot of students are starting to walk off of campus. But have you heard anything that there could be some activity outside of the room where you are at this moment?
Where we are seems relatively quiet, thankfully, because the main situation, as you guys are reporting, is at that Beam Hall student union area, but we don't see any police in the vicinity from where we are. But just like you guys, we're getting updates from classmates. These students are getting updates from classmates and whatnot, saying that they have also heard that at least 3 people might be dead in this situation. So I know I told you before, people are still here just trying to check in on their loved ones and getting messages from parents, friends, family, making sure they're okay. And it's certainly a scary situation, but I think where we are right now at this moment is at least seems to be safe.
Well, we're happy for that, for sure, and we want you to stay safe, but stay on the line because we're going to come back to you. We're also seeing some video posted to X on social media, and it's coming from our newsroom, and it looks like they're shooting outside of a building here from a second-story building, showing the police helicopter overhead and also showing the ground down below where we see a couple of students still walking around on campus right now. Not much of a police presence, at least from this location. So we are getting video from the scene, and we also have a crew on scene, which is providing these live images as well.
Yeah, Andrew is there on scene for us at this time. And you can see it looks like some folks are also gathering there behind the police tape, I'm sure trying to find out information about their loved ones. Andrew, we just saw an influx of students walking off of campus. It looked like they were headed in your direction. Were you able to talk to any of them?
Not able to talk to them, but as you can see, police are, it looks like they are expanding their crime scene as of right now. The police officer just told me to move, but it appeared like those students who just walked down here on University Avenue they appear to be okay, all right. But as of right now, was not able to talk to those students, but they look like they were all right.
Great, Andrew, thank you so much. Let's go ahead now and check in with our Kristen Drummond. Kristen is at Sunrise. So the last check, Kristen, you were trying to see if there were any information on injured or possibly deceased involved, as well as we were looking into a possible second suspect. What have you learned since we last spoke to you?
Well, no updates yet as in regards to who may be hurt and have been brought here to Sunrise Hospital. However, we continue to see police just flying down Maryland Parkway here because we are about 2 miles away from the UNLV campus. And we not only see officers heading that way towards UNLV, but also turning into Sunrise Hospital here because the emergency room is just on the back side of that building. We were able to see a number of officers and first responders coming to the hospital just about 30 or 40 minutes ago, making sure that that area by the emergency room has a police presence and even trying to clear that area out to make sure that they are able to be able to do their job efficiently. Now, like I said, we are here on Maryland Parkway. As you can see, traffic is still very clear. It's flowing. Streets have not been blocked off at this time. So if that's any concern for someone who is currently on the road or plans to be on the road, you can still come through this area. But of course, we are still monitoring what may be happening over at Sunrise Hospital and who may be going there, anyone who has been hurt, potentially injured in this active shooter investigation. Reporting live outside of Sunrise, tossing it back to you, Dana and Latoya.
All right, thanks so much, Kristen. And of course, we know that a lot of things are happening here in real time, so please bear with us as we try to do our best to try to get you the latest information. You're looking at that video that Dana just referenced a moment ago that shows some of the investigation playing out. In fact, Dana, at one point in this video, and hopefully we'll see it soon, you can see police shooters at the top of the building, doing what they can to try to see if they can find out who was responsible for this treacherous day here on the UNLV campus. And you're seeing that play out right now.
Yeah, police officers on the rooftops right now. We don't know if there's a second shooter here on campus, but we are getting reports. In fact, we even heard from Tiffany Lane, and she hasn't been able to confirm this. So I want to make sure that we're clear on this. But she said she heard from a student that 2 shooters came into a classroom and 5 people were shot. She said her friend is in lockdown. And again, we're trying to confirm this information as it comes into the newsroom. But we did hear from UNLV 7 minutes ago on social media saying, please shelter in place. This remains an active investigation. They say the suspect has been contained, according to police. We know one person, a suspect, is down and deceased. But is there another shooter on campus? That's a question we cannot answer right now.
And at one point when the initial reports were coming out, police were also telling people not only to shelter in place, but to run if possible, and if need be, to attack. And so that tells you just how serious of a situation they believe that they were dealing with from the onset of this. And now we're hearing that there could be multiple injuries and possibly some fatalities involved in all of this. We're seeing some emergency vehicles still there on the scene, a heavy police presence. We're hearing unsubstantiated reports right now that some folks are still sheltering in place, and that one student is saying, at least to our Tiffany Lane, that their friend told them that 2 shooters came into a classroom, and again, that multiple people were shot. We're still trying to work out the details and get confirmation from investigators with Metro. But we do know that our own Brett Forrest is still sheltering in place right now, and that he is not.
If you are just joining us, this is a live look at our sister station in Las Vegas, KSNV, where police are looking for a second shooter at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. They do have one suspect who is confirmed dead. According to the UNLV Twitter, police are asking that students and staff continue to shelter in place. They are evacuating buildings one at a time, and it remains an active investigation, and that one suspect has been contained.
They try to contain the scene here. George, what are you seeing?
Hi, yeah, I'm actually on the south side of the Thompson Mac, just right at Tropicana and Bach. I'm looking at west, just about a block west of Maryland Parkway. It looks like there's several law enforcement agencies kind of blocking westbound lanes on Tropicana, rerouting all drivers to either make a U-turn here at Bach, heading down eastbound. Several still law enforcement agencies up and down Tropicana. But we did get to talk to one shopper who was actually shopping at Vaughn's right across the street, who, as she was bagging, she kind of heard the commotion of kind of people like yelling. She said when she came out to the parking lot, saw several students kind of running, and she kind of was shocked to see that. As we are waiting here, still kind of seeing what else develops, we saw kind of several students who, some of them kind of looked panic shocked. We saw one student who was kind of crying, too emotional to talk to us, and she was just kind of glad to have been out. She was held in like shelter in place. Another gentleman here says his wife is actually still sheltering in place, but he says that he relies heavily on law enforcement, so he knows that she is in good hands at the moment. But right now, as we are on the phone, we are seeing a couple of more students kind of coming out, a little bit more down towards Maryland Parkway and Tropicana, but for the time being, kind of just seeing a little bit more of traffic now being let off of University and the airport connector kind of being rerouted here down Tropicana eastbound. But we're going to hopefully get to talk to some students in a bit. For now, back to you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that report there, and we appreciate what you're doing now to try to tell us about how it's not just the UNLV campus affected by this, but people in the surrounding areas that, of course, panicked as well. And so we're continuing to get reports into the newsroom of everything that is going on. Again, you are looking at a live image, heavy police presence there at UNLV. We've heard now that one suspect is down, that person deceased. We have everyone on deck here, not only several people there in and around the campus for you today to give us the very latest, as so many of us try to figure out what is going on with our friends and our loved ones, but we also have a reporter at Sunrise Hospital, which is the closest hospital, and that is where we believe any victims would be going because it's the closest to the scene there on campus.
So, okay, so we had initially the shooter, the active shooter was at Beam Hall, which is right next to the Student Union, but we also heard that there were shots fired at the Student Union, and now we're getting visual evidence of it. Our newsroom is just posting this to X, formerly Twitter, about 12 minutes ago, showing a glass door to the Student Union at UNLV damaged from apparent gunfire. Las Vegas police saying there are multiple victims and one suspect is dead. Again, we're trying to figure out if there is another shooter on campus, as are police at this hour. But we know people are locked down there, and we know that because we have a reporter, Brett Forrest, who happened to be on a different story on campus today, and he is still locked down in one of the classrooms there.
Yeah, and we're also hearing reports that that is possibly the case in other parts of campus as well. It looks like our Andrew Nomura is talking to more students on campus. Let's go ahead and listen in.
No, thank gosh. We only looked through the windows for a couple minutes because we did not want to have to keep looking through because we were nervous if he could shoot up there or not, and our teacher was advising us not to do that. So, but we did hear a bunch of cops coming in, and we didn't know what to do, so we just stayed away from the door. So,
Matthew, how many people were in your class at the time?
Just asking how many people. We're with Matthew at junior grade UNLV talking about what happened.
12 to 13.
And you sheltered in place in your classroom with your professor?
Yes, sheltered right in place.
And that's a journalism class?
Yes, it was a journalism class. It's kind of funny how I'm talking to you guys.
Well, it's how it goes. Did you see or did you see anyone injured?
No, thank gosh, no. Police, I think, had already taken care of that. They moved us out in a good manner to where we didn't really have to see much. Kind of moved us out fast and quickly, too, so we weren't trying to see much, I'm guessing. But, yeah, there was I only saw was a bunch of police presence on the campus. This is the most police I've ever seen. So I'm glad to know that they're here, and I'm glad to know that they care. So.
When you look at this and the police presence here, what's going through your mind?
Just, sadness that this is happening, but happiness that they've gotten here so fast. It seems like they were on campus right as it started because the police, we have a really good response, I feel like, ever since our last shooting that we had here in Vegas. So I'm actually very happy to see all of these police officers and all these officers moving on to campus and trying to make a difference. We don't know exactly what's going on until after when they give debriefs on what they did and all that, but as of just a first look and glance, it's nice just to know that we have these many officers here willing to protect us.
Have you talked to anybody else that saw anything else here on campus?
So, no, but I've talked to some friends that have friends that were in the building, and they said that they've just heard rounds going off, just rounds, and someone said that he was on the third floor with them at one time, so they were super nervous. Just seeing a bunch of text messages from friends that were in my class, so it's just super nervous. Hearing all these things, you just don't know what to do. You just you're calling your family, you're calling people, you're texting your friends, hey, I love you guys. I don't know what's happening, because he could burst through the door any minute. And the timely updates, there were only other, I feel like there were 10 every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, or maybe just because my phone wasn't getting it. But we gotta have updates every 5 minutes for this kind of stuff. We're scared. We're super scared. There's gotta be someone updating us. Hey, shooter's still here. Shooter's still here. Don't worry. Shooter moved. Shooter moved. Every couple minutes, just so students can be safe. You know what I mean? But yeah. So that's about all I saw.
All right.
Thank you, Matthew.
What's next for you?
Okay, so we're getting this too from UNLV. They just tweeted this out 8 minutes ago, and here's what they're posting. Police ask you to continue to please shelter in place. Police are evacuating buildings one at a time. They say this remains an active investigation. They say the suspect has been contained, which makes it seem like there was only one active shooter. There are reports that there have been 2 active shooters. We have not been able to confirm that yet.
Yeah, and hopefully that is in fact the case because we do know that person is now deceased, at least the one that they were able to find. You're looking at the Student Union there. That's one of the glass doors to one of the entrances shattered. That's just one of the other places where we were told that had shots fired. We also told you that this started at the Beam building. This is in the business school part of the campus. It's not too far away from the Student Union, which is, of course, the main hub where a lot of students come together for various activities. And right now, you're looking at some video that we were able to get earlier where you can see during this very active investigation, those sharpshooters on the roof there. This is something active shooters, we train for this now. There are drills at schools, at businesses, but it's just unreal to see it play out on the campus of UNLV. Of course, we know that no one is immune to this type of danger. We've seen active shooters at just about any place you can imagine, including a worship place. And so, unfortunately, this awful reality hitting home here for so many of our students. And we know that you know, even those who survive a situation like this, who simply maybe just sheltered in place, they will never be the same after experiencing the trauma that comes with not knowing if this could in fact be the end, if this could in fact come right to you and to your face and possibly change not only your life but the lives of your friends and family forever.
Especially after 1 October, right? In this community, I mean, I know it was 6 years ago, but that's still fresh on people's minds. So when you hear active shooter, now your mind wanders and goes to that situation. Right. But we know that we have numerous people injured. We don't know their conditions right now. We don't know how many were hit by gunfire. We don't know their conditions. One active shooter down and deceased. And we also have a reporter on the scene for you.
Right, and of course, when we have situations like this, for folks who are not in, you know, journalism, oftentimes police will set up a media staging area so that people can get all of the information at the same time. Our Tiffany Lane is actually there at that area. Tiffany, can you go ahead and tell us what you're learning at this hour?
Yeah, so we were just told that we will be hearing from Sheriff McMahill about this incident. Of course, we've been at this staging area for a while now, and a lot of people are asking just what's happening here. We've been walking around trying to get to this area because so much has been blocked off. Every law enforcement agency that you can think of, every emergency services is here. It's heartbreaking seeing all of the families that are tearing up because they just don't know. They're communicating. We spoke with one mother who couldn't even get in contact with her son, and she's hoping to hear back from him. People are just frazzled because of the situation happening here. And so hopefully we'll have some of those answers in just a few minutes. Of course, we have the Metro helicopter that's up in the sky. This Maryland Parkway for miles right now is blocked off again. Every in the neighborhoods nearby that are not involved with UNLV, everyone is outside trying to figure out just what's going on here.
Right, and if you are just joining us, this is our sister station in Las Vegas, KSNV, where police are responding to reports of a shooting on the campus of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And we are expecting a briefing in about 10 minutes from the sheriff. They have confirmed that a suspect is dead, but they are looking for a second until they can confirm that there is no second shooter. There is at least one shooter who has been found dead with multiple shot and taken to the nearest hospital, which I believe they said was Sunrise Hospital.
We have UNLV that had been blocked off, and arriving near the area is a UNLV student.
Has decided to cancel all classes, is closed effective immediately, asking everyone to evacuate that area calmly and safely in light of what's happening here. Lots of heavy hearts because this is UNLV, and so many of us have been on the campus. A lot of us have gone to school there, and so or have children who have gone to school there, or perhaps students there now. As I mentioned about this affecting more than just the UNLV campus, we're also hearing reports now that I-15 northbound is closed from Blue Diamond onto Charleston Boulevard for first responders. They're asking everyone who's watching right now, if you have to head out and you're trying to go into that direction, to please do your best to try to go in and around that area, avoid it at all costs. Let's go ahead and check in now with our traffic authority, our traffic reporter, Kelly Curran. She is also headed to the scene to give us the very latest from Sky 3. But Kelly, what can you tell us at this moment right now?
Right now I'm in the car. I am on my way to the airport to get in Sky 3 to head down there. We've already talked to air traffic control, and they're actually not going to let us over the scene right now because Metro's helicopters are up there. Totally fair. We completely understand. They need to finish their investigation. But I-15, yeah, northbound completely shut down, and because of that, we're seeing increased traffic on the side streets. There's also a closure of Tropicana at Las Vegas Boulevard and Charleston at Shadow Lane. So right in front of UMC.
All right, as they're speaking about some traffic notices around the UNLV campus, including some air traffic issues, I want to remind you that this is a look at Las Vegas, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus. This is a feed from our sister station out there, the NBC affiliate KSNV. That is where multiple people were shot on campus. Police say that they have located a suspect. They are deceased, but they are also looking for the possibility of a second shooter. They will be having a press conference in, I believe, about 5 minutes or so. They're staging that right now, so we're going to keep monitoring the situation. And of course, this is also on our website, WILX.com, and will be on our newscast now and 5:30, and 6 p.m.
Those who manage risk by anticipating each movement.
Much better. You got 28%.
Watching what is happening here in Las Vegas. An unforgettable day here to hear that students at UNLV basically targeted at some point. We don't know the motive for this, but what we do know is that sheer terror was on that campus. And for some people, it's not over yet.
Nope.
We know that some people are still sheltering in place. They're going painstakingly campus from door to door, from building to building on this campus. It's a pretty expansive campus with tens of thousands of students who go to school here. And some of them still don't know what's going on. As we heard from our Brett Forrest, who is still holed up in a classroom there, he's telling us he's with several people, dozens of people in that part of the campus, and they are in the dark. They are literally in the dark, crouched down, trying to do their best to stay from windows, waiting for someone to give them the all clear that they can go out. We just saw what looked like a SWAT team, Dana, from our vantage point.
Makes
that's
sense,
on
right?
scene there. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense because they have a lot of ground to cover. Very much an active situation, even though right now we've only confirmed that there's one shooter involved here, and that person is in fact deceased. But again, the trouble that is on this campus far from over as they try to piece together what happened here, why it happened, and if anyone is still in danger at this hour.
So we're expecting a media briefing coming up within the next 10 minutes from the Metro Police Department, so we're expecting to get an update. Hopefully we'll be able to get some answers to these many questions that we have today. UNLV will also be participating in that media update. We'll bring it to you live once it happens. Tiffany Lane is standing by at the media staging area, and you take a look right there at Interstate 15. That's the freeway right there on the left side of your screen, shut down northbound all the way from Blue Diamond up to Charleston, presumably to allow some of these emergency vehicles access to campus and local hospitals. We still do not know how many people were hit by gunfire and what are their conditions. We're expecting to get that information here shortly, and they're probably trying to figure it out themselves on campus, as this happened just a little more than an hour ago at the campus of UNLV. An active shooter opened fire at Beam Hall and the Student Union as well. We have a number of people that were hit by gunfire. We don't know how many, and we don't know if they're students or faculty or staff there, but we're hoping to get some of those answers here very soon.
Yeah, and you can only just think about the people who have loved ones who were on this campus today who probably still don't know their fate, and so we are thinking of you at this hour. As we've mentioned before, this community knows tragedy. And we know that we will pull together just as we have in the past, but that doesn't mean that wounds are not reopened when we see something like this.
No.
We're coming off of someone shooting up a homeless encampment just days ago where 5 people were shot there and some people are deceased from that. We're also still reeling from what happened to our law enforcement community. When you see them out here in full force, putting their lives on the line when they don't know what they're going to encounter, And yet they're all still in mourning too, because we just lost 2 of our troopers at the hands of a suspected driver last week. So definitely a very tough time for the Las Vegas community. And then, of course, so many of us still trying to heal from what happened here on that day of October 1st of 2017, when 58 people lost their lives that night when a gunman rained terror down on them. And so a lot of heavy hearts. Our thoughts are with all of you, and we know that in the end, when we figure out what has happened and what exactly the fallout from this will be, how many lives unfortunately have been impacted by this, that we will pull together. But right now, what we're trying to do is just make sure that as many people as possible are in fact safe. We do know that we have crews on the ground who are able to talk to some students who were able to run off of campus. And of course, that's what they tell you to do. If you can run, run. If you need to hide, hide. And if you need to attack, then by all means, do whatever you can to survive. And so somebody going through it right now, and our thoughts are with you at this time, as so many people still sheltering in place. And unfortunately, some people are going to get the bad news that, in fact, their student among the number of people who were injured in this. All we can tell you right now is that there are multiple victims, but we cannot tell you anything right now about how many victims we're talking about. We also don't know about the severity of their injuries and if anyone has actually succumbed to their injuries at this time. But as you can see, a very active situation at UNLV right now.
We have a number of reporters on the scene. Brett Forrest, he's locked inside a classroom. They turned off the lights to make it look like that no one is in the classroom in case there's an active shooter there. Our Andrew Nomura has been on the ground. Our Kristen Drummond has been at Sunrise Hospital. And Tiffany Lane is also at the media briefing site. So I was hoping to be able to go to Tiffany right now to find out if there's any activity at her location to see if Metro, okay, we don't have Tiffany right now. So we're trying to find out when they're going to have the media briefing. We believe that it's going to be within the next several minutes. And it looks like we do have Tiffany standing in front of the camera. Can she hear us, and is she ready to go? She's giving us the head shake. So, Tiffany, give us an idea of what's happening in the media staging area right now.
She doesn't have any audio. We'll work to try to make sure we can correct that situation. But as we talk about what's playing out at UNLV, it's important to remind people that the fallout is beyond campus right now. CSN has decided to cancel all classes, remaining effective immediately.
Hysterical, saying she heard the gunshot, she heard the screaming, and they're putting her in a dorm.
And now they've moved her, you said?
And they moved her again right now in a room with all the lights off, and they don't know what's happening.
What's going through your mind right now?
Well, right now, I'm relieved that she is okay, but still scared that she's not with me. So.
Did you go to UNLV or I mean, you're sending your kid to school. I mean, the thought that an active shooter was on campus here, you've heard of it across the country.
It's our greatest fear now. We can't even send our kids to school without worrying if something like this is going to happen. So it's very alarming and disturbing and scary.
What are you telling your daughter while she's, sheltering in place?
To pray, to stay calm, to stay down, and limit phone call until we need to get a hold of her.
How are you staying calm?
Well, I work in a psych facility, so unfortunately I deal with this type of behavior all the time from patients.
Wow, okay. And work is at?
Spring Mountain Treatment Center.
Okay, okay, Spring Mountain Treatment Center. Yeah. Okay, so you flew down here?
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you been out here?
Oh, maybe an hour now.
And you've been out here for an hour.
Over an hour.
Over an hour, and your daughter has been texting you just back and forth, just giving you updates every so often.
Just giving us updates. They're not giving them much updates, so it's all hearsay of what they're hearing. So that's why I asked you if you've heard anything.
Absolutely.
But it's still alarming because we still see SWAT coming in, and I still don't have her with me. So.
Right now, Latoya and Dana, you're listening to Selena. Selena, is it Guevara? Thank you so much. Her daughter is currently inside, sheltering in place at UNLV. Her daughter is in the business building, is that correct?
She was in the business building. She said they moved her to a dorm nearby. I don't know what dorm. She doesn't know what dorm. She's a freshman.
As we can see, the look on your face right now, for all those parents who might be watching at home, what do you have to tell them?
Stay calm and pray, and just wait for the phone call.
Well, Selena, we were just talking a couple of minutes ago. You mentioned that this was your worst nightmare, sending your kids to school and now active shooter.
Yes, it is. Just because it happens so often now. It happens all the time, and no words could even describe.
Selena, thank you so much. We're glad that your daughter is safe at this point. We will definitely try to get all the updates that we can and give those to you as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, Dana, Latoya, as you can hear, Selena, her daughter, was in the business building when everything took place, was sheltering in place, and then was moved to a different building. She is okay. She has been texting her mom. Her mom works as a nurse all the way at Spring Mountain Treatment Center and zoomed down here when she got that alert from UNLV. That's the very latest. We'll send it back to you. Selena, thank you so much. We're glad that your daughter is safe at this point. We will definitely try to get all the updates that we can and give those to you as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, Dana, Latoya, as you can hear, Selena, her daughter, was in the business building when everything took place, was sheltering in place, and then was moved to a different building. She is okay. She has been texting her mom. Her mom works as a nurse all the way at Spring Mountain Treatment Center and zoomed down here when she got that alert from UNLV. That's the very latest. We'll send it back to you.
I'm trying to get an idea, too, of how far away from the student union you are. We know that shots were fired there. We saw the damage to the door. Beam Hall also, we heard an active shooter situation. And based on how far away you are from those locations, I don't get a feeling that anybody is frantic from your location. It doesn't look like, from at least your location, that there is a search for a second active shooter.
We're getting an update right now from the sheriff.
You guys want us to step back into the sun? Or are you all right with this?
Are we able to go over there a little bit?
Yeah,
let's maybe just move out here.
We are moving to a different location to get better for us to, I guess, all of the media to get an update. Give us 1 second.
Sheriff, I'm sorry that you are going through all this. Thank you. Sorry. Me too. Yep, yes we do, yes we do.
Have sheriff?
We have the sheriff here getting ready to, Andrew, another sheriff.
Mind if I?
There's a press conference about to start soon. Yeah, just right now, as moving to the camera, we have the Sheriff Mayhill and Musician Police getting ready to start some sort of media update on what's going on. And so we're just here waiting and standing by. Very tragic situation. We're going to start off with the chief.
There's another group of media stage up the street. Can we wait a couple minutes for them to get here? Yeah, we're going to wait for them. All right. We're at University of Maryland. Everybody. Everybody.
I just need to get my sticks. I got you.
talk to them, and we're hoping to learn more. In the meantime, we can tell you the latest information we're hearing is that they still have students who are sheltered in place. There are also reports that they're telling students as they go from building to building here on campus to walk out with their hands and arms up. So that's good information to know as well. We also know that they have shut down traffic on the I-15 corridor to make room for emergency responders to be able to get in and out of the area in a timely fashion. And we also know that CSN has decided to close the campus indefinitely right now. They're asking people there to be calm and to safely evacuate. We have a number of people on scene, including our Denise Rosh. And right now where you're looking at, I believe that
Hey,
is
Dana,
the staging
Latoya.
area where our Tiffany Lane is. Perhaps they're making their way to
Yeah, so we just got an update. They are moving the media staging area over here. Yeah, so we just got yeah, that's what we've just been informed to by the PI, the public information officer. So they're allowing people to get the rest of the media to get over here, right here at the corner of University of Maryland, to get an update. Right here at the corner.
When students, school shooting became the thing. Student in college, that's something that all of you think about.
We talk about it. We've had conversations in our household, and not just because she's a freshman now in college. It was happening when she was actually in high school and even in middle school. There was one time she was in the middle school lunchroom, and someone dropped a tray, and everybody thought it was a gunshot. And she said there was panic that ensued, that kids were running toward the exits to get away as fast as they could. But we talked about what Metro Police and other police agencies tell you to do in active shooter situations, and it's run away. If you can identify where the gunfire is, run away until you can't run anymore, hide until you can't hide anymore, and then fight at the end. That's the last resort.
Let's go ahead now and check in with our Denise Rosh. She's actually a graduate of UNLV and has been on that campus many times. Denise, tell us what you're learning about this situation that I'm sure is just unbelievable for you right now.
Yeah, right now we're standing on Maryland Parkway directly across from the Student Union. And right over here, you can see what's going on. A lot of the students have been evacuated. In fact, we have seen many students walking off campus with their hands up, the police telling them to do that so they know who's who. We have also seen a young lady out here who was removed on a stretcher, although she did appear to be alert and talking to the paramedics. One fourth-year student that I just talked to said as he was being evacuated, he actually had to walk past a dead body. He wasn't sure if that was the shooter or a victim. He thought perhaps it was a shooter, but of course that certainly has not been confirmed. A lot of people out here reuniting right now with their friends. We've seen a lot of hugging, a lot of tears. Shootings his entire life. He says he is fed up with this, and now, quite honestly, he is a little bit nervous, a little bit fearful to walk back on campus. So that is just some of what all these students and some of the professors as well are telling us right now.
So Denise, I'm trying to get a sense of this from you as well as a UNLV graduate, as someone who was born and raised in our community, who's lived in essence their entire life in our community, and I believe that your daughter also attended UNLV. How does this strike you today?
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here in a second. It's incredible, Dana. It really is. Actually, we're third generation. My mother graduated from UNLV. I graduated from UNLV. My daughter graduated from UNLV. This school is pretty much in our DNA, and to think that a place like this, that is supposed to be a safe place, can turn into what we're seeing today is
Hey guys, we're getting ready for this.
All right, Denise, our thoughts with you and everyone who has a connection to the school. Of course, we all
Adam
do.
Garcia.
And
Good afternoon. My name is Adam Garcia. I'm the Vice President and Director of University Police Services in Southern Command. Adam, A-D-A-M, Garcia, G-A-R-C-I-A. Wanted to give you just a very short briefing on where we are at this point. Before I do that, I want to introduce Sheriff McMahill, who you see to my left, and the Fire Chief. Chief Steinbach. So we received a call of an active shooter event at 11:45 this morning. Officers immediately responded, engaged the suspect. The suspect at this point is deceased. We do not have information on any potential victims at this point. What I can tell you as well is that the entire Nevada system of higher education in Southern Nevada, campuses are all closed out of an abundance of caution. There is no threat to any other campus. We are doing this out of an abundance of caution. With that, I will turn it over to the sheriff.
I'm Kevin McMahill. I'm the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and I want to say to the community, there's no further threat. I will tell you that this combined police, state, local, and federal law enforcement, along with the fire department, works very well. As the chief told you, we do have one suspect down. Of course, we have no idea on the motive. There are a number of victims that have been transported to area hospitals, so I don't want to give you false information and tell you how many victims that we have, but we will be providing that update very, very shortly. I want to assure the community there's no further threat. We are continuing the investigation here. This is still a very active and dynamic scene, so if you can avoid the area, we would appreciate it. And we'll be providing additional updates in the very near future. Thank you.
It's 702-455-AIDE, and there'll be a website opened up, and it's facofsouthernnevada.com. Okay, and so that is our current information that we have for victim services, and that will change also as or be updated as necessary. But we will have those resources there. Understand when you call that number or you check the website, the information right now will still be limited, and there won't be any specific information as far as individuals that have been injured or deceased.
Sheriff, what's happening on the campus now? I see people leaving.
So as you can imagine, the campus is a very large area to cover. Much like we had in the aftermath of 1 October, there's a lot of additional calls coming in that students hunkered down, they're afraid, they're scared. Our officers are going unit by unit, building by building with the university police and the rest of the police officers, firefighters, EMS, and making sure that we don't have any additional victims and or subjects. So we'll be back with you in the very near future to provide an update. Thank you.
Any info on the suspect?
Sheriff, I have an update as well. I'm sorry, on that website. That's going to be facofsouthernnevada.org. I believe I said .com. That is .org.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we just got the latest information on the situation here at UNLV from Sheriff McMahill. We are going to step away, but Latoya, Dana, what I can tell you, the biggest news is that the suspect is deceased. There are no other threats. There are multiple victims that was sent to the hospital. McMahill cannot tell us the number of victims. There is also a reunification center at the convention center, and Sheriff McMahill says that that they will provide us with another update as soon as we get that. We'll be sure to bring those to you on air, online. But Latoya, Dana, that's the very latest. We'll send it back to you. McMahill cannot tell us the number of victims. There is also a reunification center at the convention center, and Sheriff McMahill says that that they will provide us with another update as soon as we get that. We'll be sure to bring those to you on air, online. But Latoya, Dana, that's the very latest. We'll send it back to you.
Andrew, thank you for all that you do. We also learned that they have a number that they want folks to call as well. That is 702-455-AIDE. Again, that's 702-455-AIDE. And of course, as a reunification is starting to happen, a lot
Okay.
more about this at this hour.
We did.
The good news here is they're telling us there's no further threat, but out of abundance of caution, they have decided to shut down all statewide campuses just in case. But again, no further threat at this time. Let's go ahead and check in with our Kelly Turin.
We got another update, 5 o'clock,
Kelly, what can
headquarters.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of cars here who got trapped in the closure, and they're not letting them move. I don't know if these cars, I'm assuming they've been sitting here since about 12:30, so they've been sitting there a while. Hopefully they're going to let them get off at Tropicana here soon, because these cars, like I said, they got nowhere to go. Behind this, you can see there's nobody, and that is because it's closed back toward Blue Diamond. Now, the southbound side is open, but traffic is very, very light. I'm assuming that most of the community is probably at home watching the news right now and grieving what's happened in our community. So it's probably the reason why the traffic is so light, because by this time we should see heavy traffic on 15, at least on the southbound side. Again, we're going to keep an eye on these people on the northbound side of I-15 and hope that they can get out of there quickly. We also have reports of Tropicana being closed. Oh, yeah, sure looks like it. Let me get over here. Yep, it looks like Tropicana's closed here at the north end of the airport. Also closures, Maryland Parkway, University Center, we've got closures, and Charleston at Shadow Lane, so right in front of UMC. We also have a closure there. So again, this is something we're going to continue to monitor here. Hopefully we can get these people off the 15 that are stuck. But if you're getting ready to head out the door anytime soon, I-15 is not the place to be, especially on the northbound side. Like I said, southbound is still open, at least for now.
All right, Kelly, thank you for the bird's eye view from the only nighttime helicopter in the entire state of Nevada. That's Sky 3. We are getting an update from UMC, Scott Krebs there, saying that they have not received any patients from
Spokesperson from Sunrise Hospital to ask how many people are injured, what are their conditions at this time, but no response. But what we do know is that Metro Police have blocked the entrances into the emergency area here at Sunrise Hospital. What we're noticing, any cars that are pulling up, it seems if they don't have credentials showing that they work at the hospital, they are being turned away. But you can also see anyone who is currently in the parking lot, they are able to leave at this point. As I mentioned earlier, there are a number of first responders right now in the emergency room area, or I should say outside of the emergency room area, from Clark County Fire Department, Metro Police, as well as Henderson Fire Department at this time. But as you can see, both entrances over at Sunrise Hospital going into the emergency room area are blocked, and then you can see this one officer right here as an ambulance is about to pull in, approaching, asking, and then they are able to go on their way. But they are armed at this moment in time as they continue to monitor the traffic and people going in and out of the hospital. Of course, we will continue to give you the latest updates once we learn who is at this hospital right now, how many people are injured, because of course that is the big question at this time. Dana and Latoya. Both entrances over at Sunrise Hospital going into the emergency room area are blocked, and then you can see this one officer right here as an ambulance is about to pull in, approaching, asking, and then they are able to go on their way. But they are armed at this moment in time as they continue to monitor the traffic and people going in and out of the hospital. Of course, we will continue to give you the latest updates once we learn who is at this hospital right now, how many people are injured, because of course that is the big question at this time. Dana and Latoya.
All right, our Kristen Drummond there for us at Sunrise Hospital as we work to learn more. Let's go back to our Denise Rosh. She's a longtime reporter here and also third generation or second generation UNLV student. Her daughter went there as well. Have you been able to talk to any of the folks who have been coming out of the building as they go unit by unit trying to clear the students?
Yeah, and the students tell us, seriously, this is the worst thing that they could have ever imagined happening on their campus. How could it not be? Just coming out with SWAT, escorting them out with guns. The students really not sure what's going on. I know we heard about a reunification center, but you can see right over here, a lot of people just don't know what to do at this point. They're still standing here. We heard one first responder coming around just talking to people, telling them that they would be bringing them water because a lot of the businesses, as you can imagine, right in this area are locked. They don't want people going in there. They just want to know where everyone is, basically. So a lot of the students still just waiting for word out here on Maryland Parkway, although you can students just waiting here along with us for the information. But
does it got to close on the southbound
side? Going about their day. One person told me that they were about ready to present a project.
Yep, they're closing southbound.
End of semester project, and now this is what the day has come to, and it's quite literally unbelievable.
Okay, Denise, thank you for that
update. Rebecca, I can't answer the phone right now. I'm in the helicopter.
Point, the nation is watching what's playing out here in southern Nevada. As the nation watches what's happening, can you explain to someone
Honey, you gotta
who,
text me. I can't even hear myself think without these noise-canceling headphones.
Okay, thank you everybody for tuning in. We are taking this look from our sister station in Las Vegas. As you can see up there, they've got multiple feeds, including one that is a duplicate. That is why we're having some duplicates, some delays, and even echoes coming through with the audio because they are actually feeding back 4 different feeds. So right now we are taking a look at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where they have reported an active shooter. Sheriff Kevin McMahill just said that they do have one suspect who is down, and there were multiple people sent to the hospital. They did not confirm how many or their condition, just that they are at the hospital.
I want to hang up to ask if we can send back video.
I'll hang up and I'll dial you back in.
So I can hang up?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have some decent sound to turn around. Is that something you guys are interested in, if we run back to the truck and try to send back some sound, or what are we doing? Are we just... Okay. I think George could, yes.
We believe it was just one active shooter opening fire. Number of people have been hit by gunfire. We don't have a number on that. We don't have their conditions. We believe they've been taken to Sunrise for treatment. And if the treatment goes to a certain level, those people may be transported over to UMC. We do have a reporter on the scene there as well. But they believe that the active shooter was shot by police himself. That person is down and deceased, and they say there's no further threat on the campus of UNLV.
And even still, out of an abundance of caution, they have decided to shut down all statewide campuses in light of what's happened here at UNLV.
These are college campuses,
College
right?
campuses have been shut down, and they're still working to find out more about that suspect. They haven't released who this person was, a possible motive just yet. But of course, as this investigation ticks on, those are the things they're going to be trying to learn here. But right now, a lot of people are just trying to make sure that their loved ones are okay as they learn the unfortunate news that we have multiple injuries involved. And right now, the only deceased that we know of is the suspect in question. At one point, they thought possibly others could be involved here, but now they're telling us no further threat involved in this situation.
We know that we have a number of reporters on the scene right now. Brett Forrest was a reporter who was actually on campus on a different story, a different event, and he was one of the people who was locked into one of those classrooms. And he told us a short time ago that they locked the doors. I don't remember how many people there was. Seemed like there was a dozen, maybe 2 dozen inside the classroom. Turned off the lights inside the classroom to make it look like no one was inside. And they were staying away from the windows. But you could hear it from Brett's voice. You know, it was an unsettling situation at a minimum for him when he was inside that classroom, because you talk about active shooters. We report about active shooters. Well, he ended up becoming caught up in all of this earlier today.
Right, and you know, Brett is a seasoned reporter, and for those who don't know, he's 6'5", he's a big guy, and like you said, you heard the panic even in his voice as he was contemplating what could be going on in and around him. So as we come back on camera here in studio, of course, we're continuing to get reports in. We're talking by the minute of people who are eyewitnesses on the scene, people who were sheltered in place. We saw a mom who talked to us at one point, to our Andrew Nomura, who was talking about, she was on the...
When you run the largest personal injury law firm in Nevada, you get to know a lot of interesting characters.
My first lawyer disappeared on me.
Yeah, I've seen that trick before.
You? Hit by a Bronco. Some dummy rear-ended me. Us. Shh.
Freak accident. Slip and fall.
The Richard Harris Law Firm.
For my case, I got 1 million of them.
Get your late news early 7 nights a week on the CW News at 10. Breaking news and top stories all in prime time.
Plus, your weather authority helps plan your work week and your weekend fun. Watch the CW News at 10.
The other side.
Southbound is open, but they're not letting anyone on. From 95, Charleston, Sahara, Flamingo, all those on-ramps are closed, but they're not forcing everyone off. So it's a little bit confusing, something I've never seen before. Like I said, a lot of the Flamingo's on-ramps are still open. That's interesting. But again, yeah, a lot of these ramps are still closed. So Sahara, you cannot get on the 15 north or southbound. Same thing that Charleston, 95 from north or southbound 95. If you're heading into the Spaghetti Bowl, you cannot get onto 15 southbound there either. We're still, like I said, trying to find out exactly what's going on with the southbound side of 15 and with these poor cars that have been stuck here now since about 12:30 when they shut down I-15 northbound. It would be great if they would let them off at Tropicana, but maybe they are?
Oh, nope, just the fire truck left. But there's about a mile of cars that have been stuck here for about an hour, and they're about Russell to 215 Sunset area. Behind that, it is empty, and that's where they've got I-15 northbound closed at Blue Diamond, guys.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare on Interstate 15, so you definitely want to avoid that at all costs. You can see people have been... Oh, Tropicana's open?
Sorry.
Okay, I think Kelly was saying that Tropicana maybe was open, but you can see there's a line of cars northbound on Interstate 15, and she says that goes all the way back down about a mile or two there. So those people are stuck there on Interstate 15, can't get off. They're trying to keep the freeway open for emergency vehicles.
Yeah, and speaking of stuck, a lot of students and other people on the UNLV campus stuck as well. One of them at one point was Brett Forrest, one of our reporters. Brett, are you still on lockdown or have you been able to leave?
We are still sheltering in place, and I know we tuned into the presser as we could here too. We heard that the threat's clear, but UNLV is sending continual updates. They want us to continue sheltering in place because we believe they're going building by building, evacuating them, perhaps looking for potential victims or anything else. So we are still in here. We've begun letting students step outside where we were sheltered to pick up some of their personal belongings we had to leave behind because we rushed into this room so quickly. So right now we're letting groups of 4 students at a time go grab their personal belongings, and we're going back into the room we've been sheltering in since about 11:45 this morning. But we do feel safe, but you know, I peek out the windows, I kind of see Metro Police on the street, but they don't know who we are, so we're not willing to, you know, all walk out en masse and possibly trigger some kind of response from police because, you know, they wouldn't know we're coming out. So we're just waiting. We're sheltering until we get the all clear from either UNLV or law enforcement coming by our building.
Yeah, Brett, that is very smart of you guys to wait until you are, in fact, clear. As we have been telling you, and you were able to listen into the news conference there, the sheriff says there's no further threat. Knowing that from them at this point, even though you guys have not been given the all clear where you are, was there a collective sigh of relief as you all were learning this information? Can you kind of tell us what you all were hearing and feeling as that information started to come out?
Yeah, you know, I have to say I'm with several dozen students and then some staff and faculty here, and the students remain collected and calm as far as I could tell throughout this whole duration, even though, you know, they are concerned. They've been texting, reaching out to friends, trying to make sure they're safe. But, you know, I maybe that just speaks to how normal this is in everyday life now, just because they weren't too concerned initially. But we are, you know, everyone does seem like we know we're safe, and we're just kind of waiting it out now at this point. But yeah, it's been as calm as can be in here.
Yeah, and it makes sense that they don't want people rushing outside of those buildings right now, although they say there is no active shooter currently, that they believe there was only one gunman on campus who was killed by police there. They don't want people rushing out of their buildings right now just out of an abundance of caution. So it makes sense that they want you to shelter in place until they can get you out of those buildings in an orderly fashion, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that is our
told me she's safe, and I'm sure that she'll be evacuated soon.
Wow, okay. And we're being told now that there are at least 3 victims, 3 people who died, but there's no longer a threat. Any thoughts?
My heart breaks for the victims' families. This isn't something that should happen at a university. We're just here to learn. We're just here to try and grow for our future, and I feel so bad for them. And just knowing that this happens on our campus is horrible.
Did you practice by chance for something like this ever in class?
If I did, I don't remember, unfortunately. I'm being from Connecticut, I grew up with Sandy Hook happening. And so I know the school's responses, I know the family's responses. I don't remember doing any active shooter drills, but I know of them. A lot of people in the classroom had done them before, so they had been prepared for this sort of situation, and they were kind of just like instructing us through it.
Okay, well, Bryce, thank you so much for your time. I'm glad everybody in your class is safe.
Of course.
All right, guys. All right, I'm going to go back to the studio, guys.
Joe, thank you. And one of the things I'm taking away from these interviews with students is that there was a process that everyone followed in this shooting. They quickly got away from the windows, the doors, sheltered in place, try to make themselves invisible. And perhaps, that really came into play and really maybe mitigated what could have been a far worse situation. Another question is, why was this gunman neutralized, or not why, but how was this gunman neutralized so quickly? This happened relatively quickly, a couple shots according to eyewitnesses, and now he's dead. We don't know who put him down, if that was a Metro police officer or a campus police officer, or perhaps someone else who was on campus who had a gun, who was armed.
Now let's send it over to anchor Kim Passoth, who's also live with the latest updates for us.
Yeah, we're here at Flamingo in Maryland, and I'm speaking with two people who were there during the lockdown. You guys said that you were hiding in a closet for a couple hours. Can you walk me through what happened?
So essentially, I was visiting her performance for the theater, and randomly someone walks in, and it's like people are running outside, there's shots fired. So immediately we start trying to find the best place that we can hide. First we went to the 5th floor, hid in a HVAC room. Then we went all the way down to a dance studio and hid in the laundry closet for about 3.5 hours.
That just to remain hiding, and then eventually they told us that they would start clearing the buildings, but we were all just in the back, like the costume room. We barricaded the doors and stuff. And
how did you do that?
So in the back there's a bunch of like heavy blocks for props and stuff for the dancers, so we put some benches and we put some of those set blocks on there to block off the doors, and the doors themselves also had locks, so we locked down the building. And then eventually when it came time, one of the police officers came in and they just gave us the quick rundown of like how they would evacuate us.
And how did they evacuate you guys?
They had just a officer come in. He said he was going to check all of us, but that would have taken hours. He eventually was just like, it's okay, we just need to get you guys out of there. And that's honestly something I got to appreciate. It was all focused on our safety and getting us out as fast as possible.
So did they immediately just take you out of the perimeter, or what happened next after
Yeah, they escorted us directly out of the perimeter over to the Lutheran church, but we had a few people waiting for us, so we had to break the barricade and get out.
And you said you're just visiting. I mean, I'm sure this never occurred to you that something like this could happen while you were visiting.
Oh no, I live like right there. I was showing up to visit a friend's thing, so no, I kind of expected this kind of thing to happen at some point, but you never really want it to happen at the end of the day.
And talk to me about what you've heard about people on campus. We know that the suspect, the shooter, has been neutralized at this point, but we do know that there are several victims. Talk to me about that.
At least as far as I know, there's 25 injured as of right now. It's varying reports between 2 and 3 shooters. All I know is one is dead, one's injured, and one is hiding out at apparently a cowboy place.
Yeah, we don't really know the numbers at this point. Metro says that all threats have been neutralized, but talk to me about that, knowing that fellow students or teachers, people on campus, that were just going about their day just like you, became victims.
Well, today the campus was doing a bunch of like relaxation events because it's study week currently. It's study week and we're approaching finals week. So in the area that it happened, they were doing an event, and I was there with them this morning, and then we left early to go to the building that I had class in, and that's when we found out. So I have a picture, I have pictures and stuff from like the area, but when I found out what was happening, I just started messaging my old roommate that I had last year. I messaged like all of my friends that live on campus to make sure that they were safe, and thankfully they all told me that they got put into buildings and that they were hiding. Some of them were in their rooms and stuff, so everyone that all of my friends on campus are safe as far as I know, and I'm really thankful for that.
I'm really glad to hear that everybody that you know is okay and that you guys are okay. I'm sure that was a super traumatic situation to be hiding that many hours in a cupboard. So thank you for speaking with us. I really appreciate it. Again, we're continuing to following the developing situation that's happening out here. We're at Flamingo and Maryland, which is about as close to the school as you can get right now. We'll bring you updates as we do continue to get them. For now, reporting live, Kim Passoff, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Could I get your names?
And that might extend beyond today as well.
And we have some information coming from Sunrise Hospital as Metro Police have confirmed 3 victims. Sunrise Hospital Trauma Center has received a patient from the active shooter incident. Sunrise says, "Our hearts go out to the UNLV community, their families, and tragedy." So again, what we know right now, there are 3 victims. We are waiting to hear if there are any more. For now, let's go to Fox 5's Mariah.
Hey, you guys. Yeah, I'm outside here where the alarms continue to go off to tell people to continue shelter in place until a police escort arrives to help them evacuate the building. But I have here with me Charles, who is a police instructor, and you were here with 20 judges from Brazil to coincidentally talk security training.
Exactly that. We were in class and we received the notification to shelter in place, and then we were told to leave the building as things progressed. Well, I don't know if they went from bad to worse or what have you, but our security was primordial, obviously, so we were here all together.
And upon receiving that notification, what was going through your mind in those moments?
My first and only thought was, how am I going to protect these judges and make sure that they get home safely? And that's the one and only thing that went through my mind, really.
And as we stand here in this aftermath of it all, just how are you feeling? How are you processing this unfathomable event?
Well, I'll tell you that we have a lot of our heroes that are out here, these uniforms, men and women in uniforms that are here to protect us and all these judges that are here visiting. So they're very appreciative. They've seen the reaction, the quick reaction of the police officers that came here, and they feel much, much safer with the presence of and seeing the presence and the activity of the police and how quickly they act.
Charles, thank you so much. Those sentiments echoed by students as well, a lot of them, while it was a fearful situation, telling me that they did feel somewhat safe by how quickly the university responded and the police presence here. I spoke to other students who were saying that at the end of the day, all they can think of is just how it doesn't feel real, any of this. It's such a surreal event. And when they were in lockdown, hearing the police outside their door and not knowing it was the police, just hearing shouting, they were scared when those doors broke open as they were down on the floor with their hands in the air, but obviously felt comforted once they realized it was the police to help get them out of the building. We will continue speaking to students and faculty, anyone around here that can really give us more clarity on the situation, and we'll continue monitoring everything and sending back updates. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in studio.
Mariah Janos, thank you so much. And right now, we're going to re-air the press conference that just happened minutes ago, a recap from law enforcement and from firefighters. Take a listen.
I wanted to give you just a very short briefing on where we are at this point. Before I do that, I want to introduce Sheriff McMahill, who you see to my left, and the fire chief, Chief Steinbach. So we received a call of an active shooter event at 11:45 this morning. Officers immediately responded, engaged the suspect. The suspect at this point is deceased. We do not have information on any potential victims at this point. What I can tell you as well is that the entire Nevada system of higher education in Southern Nevada, campuses are all closed out of an abundance of caution. There is no threat to any other campus, but we are doing this out of an abundance of caution. With that, I will turn it over to the sheriff.
I'm Kevin McMahill. I'm the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and I want to say to the community, there's no further threat. I will tell you that this combined police state, local, and federal law enforcement, along with the fire department, worked very well. As the chief told you, we do have one suspect down. Of course, we have no idea on the motive. There are a number of victims that have been transported to area hospitals, so I don't want to give you false information and tell you how many victims that we have, but we will be providing that update very, very shortly. I want to assure the community there's no further threat. We are continuing the investigation here. This is still a very active and dynamic scene, so if you can avoid the area, we would appreciate it. And we'll be providing additional updates in the very near future. Thank you.
There are victims.
Yes, there are victims.
Yes, on behalf of the entire first responder community, though, of course, our hearts go out to any of the families that are affected by this. Our update right now is that we do have a reunification center that is opened up at the convention center. That's at the North Hall. It will take time to transport students over to that area, but if you can't get a hold of your loved ones right now, your kids or somebody that you're concerned with, then that would be the place to go and to try to go ahead and do that reunification. We will have people there to assist you. We also have a phone number. It is being staffed. It's 702-455.
I love you, and that's the worst message you can get from your kid because you don't know why. And then she didn't answer the phone, and then Devin texted me that there's an active shooter at UNLV, so I left work as soon as I could and got down here, and within that short amount of time I found out that my daughter was okay, but
She was in the area where
she was in the actual building where where the shooter was. Yes.
What did she tell you about that?
I haven't heard much yet, just that they heard the shots and there was a siren that went off, but everyone was confused. They didn't really know what it was. So everybody started trying to leave. And then when they were trying to leave, someone was pushing them back into the room saying, no, you have to go back in the room. And then they sheltered in place until they were allowed to leave. So they were evacuated off site or by the architecture building, but then they were given no direction, so they didn't know what to do. She's still down on the other side of campus.
You were saying this is the worst 20 minutes that you've ever experienced.
Definitely. You don't love anything more than your children, so yeah, the worst 20 minutes. I couldn't get here fast enough.
Well, she's safe.
She is safe. Yeah. I'm so happy. I'm one of the lucky parents, so I feel for all the parents that don't get to see their children tonight.
And we've been told that there are several victims. Yeah. Talk to me about that, being a parent, knowing, going through those emotions.
There's nothing to explain. I mean, just horrific, just the most horrific feeling ever. That's all I can say. I mean, any parent knows the worst thing is something happening to their child, and I felt the unknowing, not knowing that for 20 minutes or so.
And let me ask you, are all your friends, as far as you know, all your friends, and usually your sister's safe, but all your friends are okay?
So far, I have some friends sheltering in some buildings in the process of being evacuated. But I'm from here. I went to high school here, so I know everyone. So I don't really know,
You don't know quite yet.
About everyone, yeah, because I know so many people here.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry you had to go through that, and really glad your daughter's okay. So that must have been the worst text to ever get.
Oh yeah.
And okay. Oh, well.
If I sound awful, you don't have to.
Oh no. But, I mean, I feel like every parent is going through exactly what you're going through.
Yeah, I mean, and the ones that don't know, that haven't heard, my heart goes out to them. I teach elementary school, so I have lots of children. I just have 3 of my very own, and for anything to happen to anybody's kid is awful.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully it'll give us a little bit more information sometime soon, because we're still waiting for that too.
Yeah, we keep hearing 4 dead and close to 30 injured and 20 injured.
mother and daughter. Mom got a text from her daughter saying like, I love you. She's in the hall where the shooting is happening. So I can do that. I want to see what you guys want. I would grab almost all of it. Unless you guys have other stuff that's going on. I mean, or we're trying to. It was really good. So I would run like almost the entire interview. There at the beginning, yeah, at the beginning. So, yeah. Okay, all right. Can you give me a call back whenever that's ready, just to let me know, and I can be ready to front that? Okay, all right, cool. Thanks. All right, bye. I do not know the answer to that. I would assume so, but I haven't heard anything about bus cancellations. But certainly the traffic in this area is horrendous. To get down here takes me about an hour. So, yeah. Well, I don't live very far away, so.
I know.
Yeah.
It would still be a show.
Yeah. I would say the further you can walk down out of this crime scene area, the better your chance you're going to have of getting a bus. So, all right, good luck. I'm just rolling my purse in the dirt. Glad I put deodorant on today.
All right, again, this is a look at the area of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus. We're going to take you there again in just a moment, but police have said at least 3 victims have been shot. They are at the hospital nearby. Police say 1 suspect is dead. They're looking through buildings one by one to make sure that there are no others. And in just a moment, we'll take you to KVVU and see their feed.
We understand from Elijah that the police are now outside his classroom, so they expect to be cleared and out of that building shortly, and hopefully he can get back to his father very quickly.
And now let's send it to Fox News anchor Joe Vigil, who is also outside UNLV. Joe, what can you tell us?
Yeah, here with Ryan Thorpe. Used to work at Fox 5, but teaches broadcast here at UNLV now. And Ryan, you were in class when this was happening. Can you just tell us what happened?
Yeah, so there was a class that was in near me, and I was actually in my office, but I heard a few people running into the building. So I poked my head out, and I was wondering what's going on. And then we got the alert on our computers from UPD saying to shelter in place, but I knew that there were students in the building, so I started going around and locking them down wherever I could. We were in our TV control room, so I locked them down in there. I locked them in our TV newsroom. That's all in our media facility. So once we kind of started realizing that people are evacuating, I went around and I cleared the building as fast as I could. So that was just what I did.
So when you say lockdown, what were you actually doing?
Literally locking them down, putting them in our, like I said, in our control room, having them sit below the glass windows, and locking the doors behind them, and then locking myself in my office, just kind of waiting till I knew more. Then I heard some people out in the hallway. So then I, poked my head out and was like, okay, we're trying to get people out. So that was when I started getting all the students out. And then a few minutes later, that was when police had found me, and they told me to get out of the building at that time.
Have you practiced any of this? It sounded like it was pretty orderly and you kind of knew what you were doing.
No, I haven't really practiced it. It's just instinct, really.
Wow. And what were the kids doing? What were they saying? What was their reaction?
There were a few tears. There was, a lot of nervousness. A lot of students were scared. But when I told them, go out of the building on the south, away from the student union, I think they felt pretty good about that because they saw, all the police presence right out there.
Yeah. And at what point did you know exactly what was happening?
I didn't notice the time, but I just right when I got that first alert from UPD, was like I said, I heard the people running into our building at first, and then I got the UPD alert. So that's when I knew active shooter, shelter in place, and that's just what we did.
As a faculty member, what do you think about what happened on your campus today?
It's terrible. I never want it to happen anywhere, and just the fact that it's becoming so commonplace is really, really crappy. Because we don't want it to happen anywhere, and now that there's a few people dead, I could know these people, and I don't want to, but it's just terrible.
Well, I'm glad that you kept everybody safe. I'm glad you're safe, and thanks for talking with us. I appreciate it. Okay, that's Ryan Thorpe, broadcast faculty member here on the campus, and let you just kind of looking around here. So the scene hasn't changed much, guys. There's still an enormous amount of officers here, and of course students have been reunited, we believe, with maybe parents or other people. And yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of confused and puzzled looks. It's really hard to comprehend, guys, what happened here today, and to digest it, in a short amount of time, I think is very difficult for a lot of people. And I've seen some tears, but I've seen a lot of people, doing what they can, stepping up and helping these students, when they really didn't know what was happening. And everybody, of course, is thinking the worst, but a lot of people were here and really took control of the situation, locked things down, as you just heard from Ryan right there. You heard about the ballroom area. I was talking about that earlier today, where they were doing a community service event. Students in there were talking about the community service they had done, and someone took charge right away and said, let's get down, let's get away from the windows, let's get in the corner, let's get low, and let's not talk. And then police came in, and they were safe. But of course, we've heard about these 3 deaths, which is absolutely horrible. And we're going to continue to watch everything for you here. For now, we'll go back in the studio.
We should just clarify there are 3 victims. We don't know their status right now. We're working to get that, and one of them has been taken to Sunrise Hospital, so we are working on that. But once again, 3 victims, but we don't know the extent of their injuries. On a personal note, the gentleman that Joe interviewed, RT, is well known to many of us here at Fox 5 because he worked here at Fox 5, and it was just yesterday that I was with him in his classroom down in the Greenspun School of Journalism just yesterday. And so when he was describing how they went into lockdown, the place is like a bunker. So those students were well taken care of down there. It's just a warren of little rooms and control rooms. And so, but it's just kind of surreal to think that, it was a calm, everyday, university campus just 24 hours ago, and now look, it's just surrounded by emergency vehicles and police tape and students who are trying to comprehend what they just went through.
And this is sadly the thing that, as Ryan, who's a UNLV professor, reiterated, this is the things that supervisors train for on campus, that teachers, staff members, that students train for. Earlier, I spoke to a student who was outside of Beam Hall. His class had just got out right before the shooting, and he had walked out, and he said students heard gunshots and they automatically knew active shooter, flee. And it's a sad state of affairs when everyone is calm and knows what's happening. but certainly this is what they have trained to do. This is what they have trained to do for years through school drills.
And this is a live look now at Sunrise Hospital. You can see there is a police presence there. That hospital, as well as UMC, went into lockdown when the shooting initially happened. Don't know the status of that now, but that's a matter of policy. That's out of an abundance of caution. There was no threat to the hospital that has been made public, but that's just the kind of what the procedures they go through. We do know at least one of the victims, one of the 3 victims, was taken to Sunrise. Again, we are still waiting to hear the status of these 3 victims, and we probably won't learn anything until 5 o'clock. That's when Metro will hold another briefing at Metro headquarters.
And we're still waiting to also hear how many victims there are. Sheriff McMahill wanted to clarify they are bringing updates as they come in. They don't want to release any inaccurate information. For those of you who need reunification, who are checking up on your loved ones, here's the hotline for those impacted. It's facofsouthernnevada.org. You can go to that website. You can also call this phone number. First responders also reiterate, the fire chief reiterates, when you go on this, there's going to be very limited information on the number of victims, on who is a victim, but they will help you get to your loved ones at the Las Vegas Convention Center.
And we certainly hope this will happen fairly quickly. But as we mentioned before, it's going to be a slow process to get those students out of their classrooms. And police are now going building to building on campus. They did release students from Carroll Harder. We do understand that the athletic building is still in lockdown, so students are still hunkered down there waiting for police to clear. We did interview a father whose son Elijah was in one of those buildings. He said now that police are outside his classroom, so he's very hopeful that he'll be getting out and reunified with his father quickly.
Yeah, here is an update from UNLV just a few minutes ago, about 20 minutes ago. Their alert to everyone who's on campus: continue to shelter in place. Police services continue to respond and clear buildings systematically. Certainly, they want to do so in an orderly fashion, making sure the area is secure. Obviously, UNLV, a very big geographical footprint to make sure that people are taken care of, and also to make sure that everyone is taken to the convention center.
And that's where Shauna Kalafi is now live for. Shauna.
Yeah, we just got here to the North Hall of the Las Vegas Convention Center. Like you said, this is where reunification will happen between families, students, anybody leaving UNLV after this shooting. We haven't seen too many people here so far. A couple people are walking in and out, but if you do need help with reunification or victim services, there is a hotline that has been set up. That number, you can see it on your screen, 702-455-2433. And again, that's for anybody needing help with reunification. You can also come here to the Las Vegas Convention Center near the North Halls. That's where they're going to be reuniting people, and we're going to be here as well, trying to talk to some people as they do get reunited with their loved ones, and we'll keep you posted as we learn more here. And again, we have that number there on your screen if you do need help with reunification. That is 702-455-2433.
Shauna, thank you. And yeah, this could be slow going. These initial hours after a traumatizing event like this are often filled with confusion, and it takes a while for people's, tires to grip the road and get some traction on this, and that's where we are right now. We're just figuring out what happened. With still a lot of questions. We do know one shooter is dead. They don't believe they say there's no threat to the campus. They are slowly clearing all the students out of the buildings on campus. All events have been canceled at UNLV, and I believe that's the case up and down the state now today, and possibly going forward tomorrow. We don't know that yet, but we'll certainly pass that information along to you as we stay on the air here.
We do know that all NSHE institutions, so all colleges in Southern Nevada, are closed for the remainder of the day. All classes and events have been canceled. And we also do know there was a vigil scheduled for the 2 troopers who passed from a suspected DUI driver. That was supposed to be at Allegiant Stadium at 5:30 today, and that also has been canceled.
And we have crews fanned out across the campus now, and this is from earlier today. And this is what the students have talked about, how they come out of the classroom with their hands up. That's the order from police. They do that simply because they do not know if the shooter or anyone else affiliated with the shooter has kind of melted back into the student population. So it is just a matter of accounting for every student and making sure that there's no threat in that line of students. But as you can see, they are proceeding calmly, talking among each other. It's been quite a day for them. This is, I imagine, their first experience with something like this, and we've seen these students tell our reporters very matter-of-factly what they did. Just as you mentioned, Jacqueline, this is something they've probably been trained since they were kids.
And when UNLV was updating and giving the alert to students across campus, they said, this is not a drill. Run, hide, fight. And it is sad that we all, students and workplaces, universities, campuses, are trained, but this is why they have to be trained, to be calm in an emergency, and there's a proper procedure for how buildings are evacuated. And again, UNLV police and Metro Police are going building by building right now, a very, very large footprint across University and Maryland, and so many streets are closed around that perimeter while they are making sure that every building is evacuated, also investigating and processing a large crime scene, a large footprint. There's a large investigation happening. So certainly there's a lot of efforts from police and first responders at this point in a very active investigation.
And this is the situation on Maryland Parkway. As you can see, it is closed at University Avenue to Tropicana. Swenson at University Drive is closed from Tropicana to Flamingo. The I-15 was shut down. It has since reopened, but the ramps onto the I-15 northbound remain closed at last word. So here's a map right now, and you can see in the purple, those are the areas that are a no-go for drivers. They're going to turn you right around, divert you onto some of those other roads going north-south and east-to-west right now, and that's going to probably last for some time to come.
And as our videos from our crews have shown, there's so many pedestrians around the area. There's families, there's loved ones who are trying to get to that area, trying to check on their students and just trying to reunite there. So there's a flurry of activity. And for anyone who is looking to reunite with their loved one, we have that phone number for you to be able to reunite with your loved ones.
Let me see if I can call it up here. It is 702-455-2433. 702-455-AIDE.
And we have some new information from the airport right now. Roadways around the airport continue to be closed due to police activity. At this time, the 215 is open. Traffic is heavy. If you're heading to the airport, please check your airline for flight status. So if you are headed to Harry Reid today, know that there are going to be delays to get there. See how your flight is going to be impacted, and we'll check in with the airport how exactly that affects anyone who has a flight. If roadways around the airport are closed, how exactly they can get to the airport. So certainly there's going to be a lot of changes impacting thousands of people across the tourism corridor.
Well, it's going to be a huge domino effect, too, as people have to avoid this area. They're trying to find alternate routes, and that's going to sweep up traffic into the airport as well. So it's going to be a slow go. Once again, if you're just tuning in, at 11:45 this morning, there was an active shooter on the campus of UNLV. According to witnesses, they heard several shots and then nothing. There are 3 victims whose conditions we simply do not know right now. We don't have that information yet from Metro. We anticipate hearing something from them at 5 o'clock. At about 1:30 this afternoon, Metro Sheriff Kevin McMahill and others stood before cameras and said there is no longer a threat to the campus of UNLV, but that now is the very slow process of going from building to building, clearing people out. And as we've talked about, this is a huge urban campus, so there is going to be a lot of work ahead of them, and there are some students who are simply still just waiting in place. There is a phone number if you have a family member who is a student or perhaps an employee at UNLV. That number is 702-455-2433. And that will, there's a reunification center set up at the Las Vegas Convention Center as well. We did check in with Shauna Kalafi It looked like it was rather slow going at the time. That might pick up, though, in the coming hours.
And certainly law enforcement has made it clear that there's not going to be too much detailed information on the status of various students, on the status of any victims or the investigation when you call that phone number. It's basic information to help you reunite with your loved ones at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Taking a live look, this is outside the UNLV campus. You can see students and faculty members getting on the bus. This is how they are bringing those students to the Las Vegas Convention Center. And certainly this is a very organized process. They are still going building by building to get these students out of lockdown, out into a safe area in that perimeter that is blocked off, and then helping those who need reunification, taking them on board those buses to the Las Vegas Convention Center.
In fact, Mariah, Janos just talked to a couple whose daughter is inside one of the buildings on campus, and as you can imagine, very anguished for them as they wait to get their daughter back. We hope to check in with Mariah very quickly. As soon as she can dial in, we'll get to her and she can kind of relay the details on that.
And some details for you. There's going to be a Metro briefing at 5 p.m. That is when we are going to get even more details from police.
I do believe we have an interview with Connor Friedman dialed up here. He is a finance student at UNLV, so that would place him perhaps in the Beam Hall where the shooting happened. Let's take a listen. Okay, we don't have that. Okay, let's get out to Joe Vigil right now. Joe, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so I'm with Naomi Mengai and Jonathan Eob here, and they are freshman students. And you guys basically were in class this morning when this happened. Can you just tell me what was happening?
So basically, I walked into class. We're having our speeches today since it is close to exam week.
Okay.
And I'm walking into class, and I sit down. It's calm, everything, and then I just see like my teacher starts to panic, and then I'm like, what's happening? And then I start to get like a sort of like, I'm not unease.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you just hear like full of gunshots, and it was just like, I don't know, I didn't know how to feel. I just started panicking, and then you just hear like, I don't know, it felt unreal when you like, it felt surreal actually. And then everyone's just starting to panic. We all go silent. Everyone starts calling their parents and everything. We're hiding by a corner. And then our teacher, Mr. Starkey, also, he was guarding the door for us, making sure we were all safe, like protecting us, making sure we were like not panicking, we weren't sad, like we were calm and relaxed. And like I really appreciate him for that, because it was like a really scary like thing to witness and be in.
Sounds like he took charge and put himself right at that door in case something did come through that door.
Big shout out for him. He made me feel more secure about what was happening, about the situation, and him just standing there just like, it just makes you feel like more safe and just, yeah.
Yeah, and Jonathan, you were there as well. Now, officers, and you showed me video, we're trying to get this back to the station, but officers came into the room. Can you explain that scene, what that was like?
Yeah, so our teacher was at the door when the police knocked on the door trying to like evacuate everyone. And when when they were evacuating us, they came in full uniform, ARs out. At least 15, 20 cops came into our room. They didn't point their guns at us, but they did tell us to keep our hands up and make sure we leave everything in our classrooms. So right now, all of us are stuck without our bags, without our wallets, without our phones, and we're really just stranded here waiting for the word to get back in the classroom.
Yeah, and how were a lot of these people? You said they were making phone calls. You know what people were saying or the texting?
A lot of I love yous. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get out of this. A lot of I'm scared. I hear the gunshots. A lot of like silence too. I personally started like panicking. I called my cousin first because she was on campus as well, and I don't know, it was just like a very like, it was so crazy. I just hear her crying, and then I'm crying, and then the whole class was silent. It was like, it was really bad. It was just like a very bad, like everyone was panicking.
And then you had all those police officers coming there, and you knew you were safe at that point.
Well, I felt safe, but at the same time, you're still scared because you don't know what you're about to walk out of, and like you don't know what you're about to see on campus. Because I was just stuck in a room, but there's so many people like running across, going everywhere. I don't know, like finding safety, and I was just scared to walk out too. Sometimes I wish I was like stuck in that classroom and like not out. But
very emotional time. I mean, how are you supposed to react? I mean, it's not like anybody plans for something like this, and then all of a sudden now it's happening, and I can't imagine.
You don't know what to do, and basically, like, I don't know, this is like one big thing that's like a big fear for me in America, because I came from Europe and Africa, so coming from those countries, you don't really have like things that happen like this at school. So when I came here, this was like one big fear I've had, and for it to happen my first year was just very scary for me.
What about going back to class, guys? I mean, can you even see that happening in the next week or so? I mean, it's
traumatized. We're traumatized. I don't know how it's going to be. I feel like I'm going to be stressed every time I do go into class, having that fear in the back of my mind that today might be my last day, you know what I mean? And coming to school when I want to learn and get an education, it's really emotional because it could have been my last.
Well, guys, I'm glad you're safe. I appreciate you talking to us and let us know what happened in there, so thank you very much. And John, I'm going to send it back to you guys. John, I want to say thanks for correcting me earlier. We don't know the conditions of these three people, so I want to send it back to you saying that.
And that young man made a very good point as well, Joe, in that they had to get out without their phones. So for any parents trying to reach their students, that's something to keep in mind. The students may not have a phone with them that may have been left behind in a classroom.
And that's why it's really important to be able to look at the reunification updates. We're going to bring the phone number for you again. All students are going to be brought to the Las Vegas Convention Center, and the phone number is 702-455-2433. The website is also facofsouthernnevada.org. Listening to those students, it's just heart-wrenching and scary hearing that this is what they had to go through. They felt that their lives were threatened.
Right, and it comes at, at a time when they have to prepare for finals for the end of the semester as they prepare for their get ready to look forward to their Christmas break, and now this happens, and their immediate futures are very much up in the air on whether they go ahead with finals or what. And I'm sure hopefully there'll be a lot of counseling made available to the students on there. You can see the toll that it's taking on some of these students right now as they embrace each other. We have Mariah Jono standing by. She is by the student union. Mariah.
Yeah, you guys, I'm right across the street on Maryland, and I have here with me a junior at UNLV, Brianna, who was actually in the student union building when the shooter entered. Brianna, can you just walk me through your experience?
So I just immediately came out of class, and I went straight to the bathroom in the student union, just like anything normal. I had my headphones on, so I couldn't hear what was going on outside. And then I realized that the bathroom was empty. I got a notification from my phone that there was an active shooter. I went and peeked out the door, and I saw the whole student union was disheveled. There was food thrown everywhere, the glass was broken, there were things like brought down, and I didn't know what to do. So I started texting friends, and I jumped up on the toilet trying to make sure my feet aren't shown, and I heard the gunmen started like coming closer in the direction of the student union, and they ended up going inside of the building. And I have a clip of where I can hear them shooting, and I was just freaking out, crying. I didn't know where my friends were. They were on the other side of the building. I was the only one in the bathroom. And then later, eventually I heard the SWAT team, and they got me out of the bathroom. But I couldn't decipher whether if it was the team or if it was the shooter. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And there was an event going on right outside of the student union, like minutes before. And then all I could think about is like, there were like 50 people outside a moment ago, and now there isn't. And I don't know if any of them got hit. I don't know who got hurt. Some of my friends are not answering their calls. Some of them did. I don't know enough about it. All I know is I was just there, and then all of a sudden everyone's gone, and I find out that a bunch of people got shot. And that's about it.
I'm so sorry you had to experience all of that, but how are you feeling in these moments now that some time has passed? Is it still just as unfathomable as what you just experienced?
If anything, I feel like it's almost worse now, because I was in shock, and the police actually had to, they needed me to keep my stuff there. So I was just shocked to the fact that I didn't have my things with me. And then later I kind of processed it and then realized where my friends were on campus. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's like, I'm not sure how many, but like 35 plus people that got shot. And these are all students. And especially for events, it's a lot of freshmen run events. So I just know that it's mainly the younger half of students that are on campus today. And today was supposedly like our last day of full classes, so there was definitely an influx of people because of finals week next week. And I don't really know how to feel. I'm more so just devastated. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe how quickly it happened. Like everything that I'm talking about happened in a matter of like maybe 10 minutes. Too quick to even process it. So, yeah.
Now, I will say we did receive confirmation that there are 3 victims that were transported to the hospital. So the 35 number, that while it may not ease much pain, I want you to know that that may not be completely true. However, where do you go from here? How do you move on from here? How do you go to class after this?
I'm not fully sure. I think it's weird because I'm part of other groups on campus alongside my major, and I'm just thinking about like being able to meet up for meetings even though classes are done. We still had stuff planned in the week, so I'm just thinking about how like a lot of things that people had planned are not, it's not going to follow through with it. I'm not sure exactly how testing is going to go. Not that any of that matters right now. And it's just because this campus is relatively very safe. I've always felt very safe here, especially like being born and raised in Vegas. It's a safe environment. So for us to be in this position, this like shocks everybody right now. This is not something that no one would ever expect it, but especially from here. So I don't know exactly where people would go from here. And I also don't know we won't know the exact extent of what has actually happened until days from now, so it's like a waiting period.
Brianna, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I know it was not easy, and it's still very hard to even believe that something like this could go on here. For now, guys, we're going to send it back to you in studio.
Mariah, thank you. We do have a tweet from Metro right now updating a situation that's happening off campus. Students at Paradise Elementary, and that's at 900 Cottage Grove Avenue, are in soft lockdown. They are safe, but once the all clear is given, they will be bused to Orr Middle School. That's at 1562 East Katy Avenue. So once again, if you have a student at Paradise Elementary, they will be bused to Orr Middle School after the all clear is given.
Now let's send it over to Fox 5's Kim Passoff, who is live outside Maryland, speaking with students, speaking with families at the scene.
Yeah, right now we are at the intersection of Flamingo and Maryland Parkway. This is about as close as you can get to campus because it is blocked off with crime scene tape and officers. There are families here. Right now we're in a Walgreens parking lot. Even though we do know that the Reunification Center is the convention center, there are still families here who have been in communication with students, getting text messages. So they've told them that they will meet them here. So they are sitting here. They are waiting. We want to take a look at that crime scene tape. You can see that Maryland is completely blocked off. Looking at a map of UNLV, Beam Hall, where the shooting happened, that is the closest major cross street where those police cars are right now. I spoke with one daughter and a mother who were waiting for their sister and her daughter to get cleared from campus. She was actually in Beam Hall when that shooting happened, and here's what they had to say about it.
I was sitting at lunch. I teach at an elementary school, and my daughter texted me, "Mom, in case anything happens, I love you." And that's the worst message you can get from your kid because you don't know why. And then she didn't answer the phone, and then Devin texted me that there's an active shooter at UNLV. So I left work as soon as I could and got down here, and within that short amount of time I found out that my daughter was okay, but she was in the area where she was in the actual building where the shooter was. Yes.
What did she tell you about that?
I haven't heard much yet, just that they heard the shots and there was a siren that went off, but everyone was confused. They didn't really know what it was. So everybody started trying to leave. And then when they were trying to leave, someone was pushing them back into the room saying, no, you have to go back in the room. And then they sheltered in place until they were allowed to leave. So they were evacuated off-site or by the architecture building, but then they were given no direction, so they didn't know what to do. She's still down on the other side of campus.
You were saying this is the worst 20 minutes that you've ever experienced.
Definitely. You don't love anything more than your children, so yeah, the worst 20 minutes. I couldn't get here fast enough.
Well, she's safe.
She is safe. I'm so happy. I'm one of the lucky parents, so I feel for all the parents that don't get to see their children tonight.
And we've been told that there are several victims.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, being a parent, knowing, going through those emotions.
There's nothing to explain. I mean, just horrific, just the most horrific feeling ever. That's all I can say. I mean, any parent knows the worst thing is something happening to their child, and I felt the unknowing, not knowing that for 20 minutes or so.
And let me ask you, are all your friends, as far as you know, all your friends, and usually your sister's safe, but all your friends are okay?
So far, I have some friends sheltering in some buildings in the process of being evacuated. But I'm from here. I went to high school here, so I know everyone. So I don't really know,
you don't know quite yet.
About everyone, yeah.
So that is the question that we're getting from a lot of parents is, when is the campus going to be cleared? When are all students going to be off campus? That is still taking place as police go room by room on the campus. Everything is still locked down at this point. But again, as the Metro Sheriff said, that the threat has been neutralized at this point. So we're just waiting for those reunifications to happen. A lot of parents here, and we will bring you their stories as we continue to get them. Reporting live, Kim Passoff, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
We want to tell you that Vitalent, the blood donation collection organization, sent approximately 50 additional units of blood to area hospitals, we assume Sunrise, in response to the shooting. They're encouraging people who want to donate, and always during the holidays, there are always calls for blood donation, so especially important now.
Fox 5's Mike Allen is live outside Sunrise Hospital with some updates for us there.
Yeah, so I just arrived on scene, John and Jacqueline, and what I've seen is a few police vehicles pulling out of this area behind me. There were at least a couple dozen overall at Sunrise Hospital. It went on lockdown. It appears that lockdown has been lifted. Usually that's what happens when a situation like this occurs. 3 entrances behind me were blocked off. Again, I've been seeing over the last probably 10-15 minutes Metro police vehicles starting to leave the area. So it looks like it's calming down here. The hospital did receive a statement, by the way, saying that it has received 1 patient from this shooting. So that's the latest from Sunrise Hospital. For now, reporting live, Mike Allen, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
And it's important to note there are 3 victims in total. We know only the one that was taken to Sunrise. We do not know where the other 2 were taken. UMC says it has not received any patients. We are awaiting a Metro briefing at 5 p.m. regarding that situation. Perhaps we can get some more information on the whereabouts, where the other 2 victims were taken.
And as we take another live look at this scene, just a reminder that pretty much the entire perimeter all around UNLV is surrounded. It is locked down. There's a lot of evacuation still currently in place. UNLV just still continues to reiterate to people, shelter in place. Police are going from building to building, evacuating people in an orderly fashion, taking them, those who need to go to the reunification center at the Las Vegas Convention Center, taking them in orderly fashions too. We've seen family and loved ones trying to gather outside the perimeter. Also, there's an elementary school that's in the perimeter off Cottage Grove Avenue. It was in the perimeter of UNLV, Paradise Elementary. They are going to be bused to Orr Middle School as well. So there's a lot of first responders out there helping college students, staff members, and also an elementary school that is in the adjacent area as well.
And Danny Maston has confirmed to us that RTC buses are taking students, UNLV students, to the Thomas and Mack, many of them forced to leave their car and their possessions behind them as they had to get out of their classrooms. So again, careful. It's important to note that if you can't reach your student, it may be a case where they simply just just don't have their phone with them. Shauna Kalafi is at the convention center. That's where this reunification center has been set up.
Yeah, people are reuniting inside of the north halls of the convention center. We are outside right now. There have been a few people that came out. We just spoke to a mother and daughter. The daughter is a student as well as an employee at UNLV. They were understandably very emotional, hugging, crying as they were reunited. The mother said as soon as she got that alert, actually from her daughter, who had let her know, we are on lockdown. This is not a drill. She says at first, she was hoping that it was a drill and that, of course, this wasn't an actual active shooter, as we learned. She says that this is something that she worries about every single day as both of her daughters go to school. One of them is in high school, the other one at UNLV. And this is a mother's worst fear, but of course they are happy that their daughter is okay. Everybody is safe, but they're praying for the other families who were affected by this shooter. We know there were at least 3 victims in this shooting. Again, the reunification center has been set up here at the Las Vegas Convention Center inside of the North Halls. And if you need help with reunification, there has been a hotline set up for that as well. I'll send it back to you.
And we want to let folks know who are concerned about loved ones. Thank you so much, Shauna, who are concerned about loved ones who might be on campus. When police are going from building to building, students have told us that they've been asked to put their hands up in the air. They evacuate or in an orderly fashion. A lot of them have...
All right, as we approach, it looks like the 80-minute mark of this live coverage from Las Vegas, we're going to take a break. We're actually going to direct everybody to either our website, WILX.com, or to our 6 p.m. newscast coming up in about 3 minutes or so. We're also going to have continuing coverage on this situation out of Las Vegas on our 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. newscasts. But really quickly, I want to give you one last update. This is what our sister station, Fox 5 in Las Vegas, KVVU, is saying. What they know is there's at least 3 victims. The sheriff has said that there is no further threat to the campus or the immediate community, and they have confirmed that one suspect has been found deceased. So that's where we're at with this. We're going to keep covering this throughout the night and also tomorrow morning on News 10 Today. So check out our website, WILX.com. Find this article. That's going to have all of the latest updates. And again, we're going to have more on our 6 p.m. newscast coming up in just a minute, and on 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this nearly hour-and-a-half long coverage from Las Vegas, where police say 3 victims have been reported shot on the campus of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and the suspect is dead. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a safe night, everybody.